Money is said to be the root of all evil, yet we all dream of being wealthy. A list of the world's richest people has been released by Forbes, and once again it's a mix of the usual suspects. Jeff Bezos, with his $131 billion, the former hedge fund manager turned online bookseller, began his Amazon empire in his garage in 1994. He still owns 16% of the huge e-commerce business. The share price has risen nearly 500% in the past 5 years. Next up is the Windows mogul Bill Gates with $96.5 billion. Always found at the top of the Forbes list, for the past 2 decades the Microsoft founder has sold or given away a lot of his stake in the company. Now he owns just 1% of Microsoft. When you think of fat cat billionaires, Warren Buffett often springs to mind with his $82.5 billion. Now in his 9th decade, the Berkshire Hathaway chief executive, known as the Oracle of Omagh, is one of the most successful investors of all time. He may be regarded as the most successful investor of all time, but he is far from the richest. So who do these billionaires look at with a green eye of envy? Let's take a look. Welcome to IF, videos on history and mystery. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss a video again. Mansa Musa was the richest man who ever lived. This 14th century West African ruler was so rich his generous gifts brought an entire country's economy to its knees. Rudolph Butch Ware, associate professor of history at the University of California, said that the ruler's wealth and power was so great it's almost incomprehensible to us. The African Mansa Musa was richer than anyone could describe. In 2012, US website Celebrity Net Worth estimated his wealth at $400 billion, but economic historians agreed that his wealth was so large it is almost impossible to put a number to. Forbes may be making the lists today, but there is an historical top 10 that the likes of Bezos and Gates have yet to reach. The richest men of all time are as follows. Mansa Musa obviously tops the list with his incomprehensible wealth. At number 2 is Augustus Caesar, the famous Roman emperor. Next to Asia and Zhao Zhu, Emperor Shizong of Song in China. His wealth is said to be incalculable. Next we head to the land of the Taj Mahal and Akbar, the emperor of India's Mughal dynasty. His wealth also incalculable. America's first entry to the list is Andrew Carnegie. The Scottish-American industrialist had over $372 billion. He is followed by John D. Rockefeller. The American business magnate had a wealth of $341 billion. Mother Russia throws her hat in the ring with Nikolai Alexandrovich Romanov. The Russian Tsar had a value of $300 billion. Toward the bottom of the table is a member of the Raj, Mir Osman Ali Khan, with $230 billion. England's William the Conqueror also sneaks in with $229.5 billion. And the most recent member of this list, Muammar Gaddafi, the ruler of Libya, had $200 billion. Gaddafi and his vast sums of money and his plans for a go-based world currency is another story to dig into, maybe in another video. Let's get back to Mansa Musa, who is also known as the Golden King. Born in 1280 into a family of rulers, his brother Mansa Abu Bakr ruled the empire until 1312, when he abdicated to go on an expedition. According to 14th century Syrian historian Shabab al-Omari, Abu Bakr was obsessed with the Atlantic Ocean and what lay beyond it. Reportedly, he embarked on an expedition which consisted of a fleet of some 2,000 ships. Aboard these vessels were thousands of men, women and slaves. They set sail and never returned. This disappearance was to the benefit of the man who would become the Golden King, as Mansa Musa inherited the kingdom that was left behind. Under his rule, the kingdom of Mali expanded significantly. He annexed 24 cities, including the famous Timbuktu. The king ruled over lands which stretched over 2,000 miles. these lands stretching from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to modern-day Niger. This kingdom swallowed some of the wealthiest and fertile lands found on the continent. The king built his wealth from having such a large landmass filled with great resources such as gold and salt. The empire of Mali accounted for almost half of the world's gold during the reign of Mansa Musa, and it all belonged to one man, the king. Like an ancient Jeff Bezos, he cornered all trade on his continent, only adding to his already vast wealth. Though the empire of Mali was home to so much gold, the kingdom itself was not well known. This changed when Mansa Musa, a devout Muslim, decided to go on a pilgrimage to Mecca, travelling through the Sahara Desert and Egypt. The king was said to have left Mali with a caravan of over 60,000 men. In this travelling kingdom were his entire royal court, the officials, soldiers, griots, what today we would call entertainers, merchants, camel drivers, and they were followed by 12,000 slaves to keep this monster convoy moving. This rolling kingdom would have been a sight to behold, as all who were part of it, even the slaves, were clad in gold and the finest Persian silks. 100 camels followed, each camel carrying hundreds of pounds of pure gold. I think I would take one of these camels over a Bugatti Veyron. The caravan of opulence reached Cairo, and this is where the problems began. The Golden King lived up to his name and handed out so much gold in Cairo that his 3-month stay caused the price of gold to plummet. He caused a gold crash. For the following 10 years, this wrecked the Cairo economy. On his way back home, Mansa Musa passed through Egypt again, and according to some, tried to fix his mistake and correct the country's economy by removing some of the gold that he had put into circulation. He borrowed gold back at an extortionate interest rate. Some say the king spent so much that he ran out of gold. There is no doubt that Mansa Musa spent or wasted a lot of gold during his pilgrimage. This excessive generosity did help him to capture the eyes of the world and put his kingdom on the historical map. He did this both figuratively and literally. In a Catalan atlas map circa 1375, a drawing of the African king sits on a golden throne atop Timbuktu, holding a piece of gold in his hand. Timbuktu grew in legend and became an African El Dorado. The legend was so great, still to this day people go in search of the wealth that myths say is still hidden in the region. The king used much of his gold to construct massive buildings and monuments, these including highly ornate mosques. He invested heavily in education of his people and is often credited with starting the tradition of education in West Africa. After Mansa Musa died in 1337 at the age of 57, the empire was inherited by his sons. They failed to hold the empire together. The smaller states broke away and the empire slowly crumbled. I wonder, with all that money, did he die a happy man? Had you heard about this lost kingdom of gold and its affluent ruler? Would you like to be as rich as Mansa Musa or any of today's billionaires? Let me know in the comments below. If you like what I do here on the channel, hit that red button, like and share. You can catch the latest by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.